feels like nothing's clicking for me. Like I can't get higher than a 153 now on my practice test or anything like that. It just feels like I've plateaued on my scoring, and I just don't know what else to do to try and get to that at least 160 score range.
I hear you. Do you find that there's any particular area of weakness or section that you think deserves more attention?
So I'm doing tutoring as well. The pattern has been with on logical reasoning, inference, strength and weaken, and flaw, and then reading competence is another section I struggle with in terms of main point and detail type questions. Logic games on my last couple practice tests has been my highest section, but I would also argue for that though that the practice tests I've kind of been taking the same ones over and over again, just because also the free material is so limited for LSAT stuff. So
do you have Law Hub?
I only have the free one, and that one has the 5 same practice tests.
So you haven't gone beyond those 5?
I've used that, and then I've done some practice tests for the Khan Academy stuff that's partnered with LSAT as well.
Why don't you get Law Hub?
That's my next step, is to get that, just because I've utilized all the free stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's nearly 100 exams. Most of them are on Law Hub, and so I'm not saying that that's going to be all you need. It's just to get more practice tests. Obviously, you need to understand the material too, right. But rather than just redoing the same old exams, which will get pretty tiresome, there's so much untouched material you have yet to explore and see the same methods of reasoning, for example, showing up in different contexts. And you never know what's going to make it click for you.
Right. And that makes sense.
So that's one step I would take. I'm also curious to know what your review process looks like.
And that's I don't really have like a consistent one. Like when I'm doing my own stuff, I read the explanation that's given to me, and it feels like that explanation doesn't the way it's phrased doesn't work for me. And it's like, I don't know where else to get an explanation for that particular problem. Like I said, I'm doing tutoring as well. And I mean, we work through it together, and sometimes it clicks and sometimes it doesn't when going through when the practice questions that we're doing. And obviously the way he can explain it is so limited. So, because everyone understands it to be differently, and it's just no matter. So the explanations aren't clicking is more so the problem that I'm getting.
Right. I mean, no one explanation, that's especially a written one, is going to click for everybody.
Right.
And so I recommend a variety of sources. But beyond that, really the best thing I think is to own the review process for yourself, where you aim to understand the problem so deeply that you could explain it to somebody else. So this is not about using an external source providing you with this so-called perfect answer. It's about looking at the question in depth, analyzing it from multiple perspectives, and looking specifically at what about the problem might have tripped you up initially. Was it the method of reasoning in the stimulus? Was it the topic? Was it the wording of the question stem? Was it something unappealing about the wrong answer or unappealing about the right answer? Was it something that was tricky about the wrong answer? So seeing what unique tricks and traps you're likely to fall for, understanding them well and how to spot them so that you can avoid making the same mistakes again. And that's something I really emphasize throughout the course, especially in my logical reasoning workshops.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess my problem has been like, I don't know how to fully get there, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, I completely understand what you're saying. I agree with it. It's just more so like, how do I get there? Because it's like I'm not understanding the question fully.
Well, it's grueling for sure.
Yeah.
It's not easy but it's also not an all or nothing kind of thing. It's a slow progression where you understand the problems a little bit more each day. And maybe you start this with an easy question, then a moderate question, then a difficult question. So you build it up gradually. And my workshops are meant to demo that process and show you a variety of different ways to go about it.
Okay.
There's not just one way to review well, but I aim to provide you with a whole library of tools and tactics and then you pull out and use the ones that are most applicable for a given situation. And to start with, you can look at my workshops and review the problems that I'm covering in those classes, because at least that way you're getting the support from seeing how I would go about it as well. It's a little bit like using training wheels, because you have someone else helping you along, and then later you understand the process well enough that you can then apply it to new problems that you haven't seen me do a video on.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm still slowly trying to figure out how to navigate the course as well, since there's so much in there, and it is overwhelming in a good way. So
cool. No, I'm glad you like it. I mean, there's a lot there for sure. I'll send
Yeah.
you after this call. I'll send you a couple of workshops you could look at as a starting point. Just a couple that really go in depth on the review to give you some examples.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that was definitely one thing I was trying to figure out too, is how to apply those. I guess another question, I guess this is more like a personal situation one, but
Sure.
I get, like, is it possible to get a 160 with a month left? I'm taking the January one.
It absolutely is. Yeah, I mean,
Going from a 153. So
yeah. No, you said 153. Yeah, I mean, a single insight could change everything about your prep. It could unlock a lot for you, and especially you mentioned logical reasoning and reading comp being two big areas for you. I mean, there's a lot of overlap between them. So if you unlock a new level of understanding from what you're doing over the next month or so, that could carry across both sections. So it definitely is possible. Obviously, we have the holidays coming up, but if you can put in a lot of time over these next couple of weeks, there's a lot you can do.
okay, great. Yeah, I just, because I'm hearing more so the other point of view. So just want to make sure that, that goal's realistic and that I'm not reaching for an impossible goal here. So
no, it's definitely not an impossible goal. And I mean, I wouldn't necessarily trust anyone else's input on this in terms of telling you that you can't do it. I mean, some people won't improve, some people will improve. If you want to be in the group that does improve, you at least have to believe that you can. And there are people who will improve to that degree over the next month. It's not even really about timelines. There are people who won't improve much in 3 months. There are people who improve a ton in 1 month. Everyone's different,
right,
but it's about finding the key insight or changing your approach in a particular way. And then it has a ripple effect across the whole exam.
Okay, it's definitely great to get that kind of positive encouragement from someone rather than basically being told you should push back your test to make sure you get there. So, the other question I had is kind of with the LSAT retake rules. I know kind of like because I guess how are they counting them? I know with the LSAT flex in terms of how, I think it was 5 in a year or something like that.
Yeah, so it's 3 times in one testing cycle. Testing cycles run from June to May of the following year.
Okay.
You could take, then there's also other rules. You could take it 5 times in 5 years, 7 times for life. If you got a 180, you can't take it again. But do you think you're at risk of running up against any of those rules?
I've only taken the official one once, and that was August of 2020.
Oh, so you're fine.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying, because I know 3 is kind of like the rule of thumb not to take it more than 3 times too, right?
Well, it's all else being equal. Yeah, you don't want to take it more than 3 times, but if you needed to get the score that you need, it's worth it. Better to take it 4 times and break into the 170s than take it 3 times and not break a 160.
Okay, and then how would law school, on the application side, how would that be looked at?
All else being equal, fewer takes is better, but it's never the case that all else is equal, because if you retake it and you improve, better to apply with a higher score, even if it meant taking it more times. I mean, look at what the schools have incentive to consider. To them, the highest score is what goes to the ABA. It's what goes to the US News rankings. So they only have incentive to care about the highest score you apply with, regardless of your number of takes. And obviously taking it 5, 6, 7 times might raise some questions, but you could always write an addendum to explain why you took it so many times and say, this time the proctor was bad, this time the power went out on my internet, or whatever happened, right? There's a lot of reasons why someone could need to retake, and you explain whatever it was if you took it 5, 6, 7 times, but you taken it only once, that's totally normal.
Right.
totally normal.
Yeah, I'm trying, to prepare just in case I don't get that 160 in January. Just kind of what
Sure.
my other options are. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. If you need to take it again, you could take it again. It's fine.
Cool. All
All
right.
right, Jesse, anything else for today?
Nope, that'll be it. I mean, I know I have that email coming, so that'll definitely be a great starting point. So
Yeah, I'll send you the email to those workshops. If you need anything at all, just reach out. I'm happy to help.
okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.